This is YouTube Joseph WM, walking with prehistoric microbes, triumph of the microbes. This is a special / bonus feature or extra or special feature or whatever. Let's begin. Before we get there, the Earth 4.4 plus billion years ago, when it was in its infancy, was a primeval hell and was molten. There was lava all over the place. There were oceans of lava, and the crust was still cooling. Just before, when the Earth, 25 million years after the Earth formed, 4,567,000,000 years ago, and then 25 million years after that, the whole world melted in the iron catastrophe. The Earth became a ball of molten lava, and then the heavier elements sank towards the core, while the lighter elements floated on the top. And 25 million years after that, by 50 million years after the Earth formed, the globe began to cool, and when it did, the magnetic field was formed. Just as it did that, a Mars-sized planet called Theia hit Earth and formed a ring, and melted the planet again and formed a ring of debris in the space, which multiple moons may have coalesced from, like 4 moons, or 2, 3, or possibly 4 moons, and then it cooled when the Earth cooled again, at this point, eventually the moons collided. I forgot. First, the moons collided with each other. The moons, they collided. Eventually, there were 2 moons and then just one, which cooled, and the Earth cooled too. Its molten crust hardened, and up in this point, there was the early heavy bombardment. Ever since the Earth formed, and then it ended this was 4.45 billion years ago, and then 100 million years after the Earth first formed. Then by 4.4 billion years ago, the late heavy bombardment began, and there was probably already oceans as early as 4.4 billion years ago, when the Earth was 150 million years old, only 150 million years old. And then the entire planet was, just ignore that, was underwater, and then the first cratons, or if you know what first land appeared, if you know what planetesimals are, it's kind of like that, but with continents. Cratons eventually formed into protocontinents, then into the full continents, and the first supercontinent Valbarda. Alright, this is where our story begins. The first cyanobacteria appeared in the 4 billion years ago, or possibly earlier. They could have been life on Earth as early as 4.4 billion years ago, when the planet was only 150 million years old. Right? Either way, now by 3.8 billion years ago, when the late heavy bombardment ended, and certainly by 3.5 billion years ago, when the Earth was 1 billion years old, the stromatolites formed, and they were dome-like structures that were filled with bacteria, particularly cyanobacteria. They were the earliest complex. They weren't really complex size. They were a colony of microbes of bacteria. And there was also archaea around this time. And eventually, the Earth, 2.4 billion years ago, there was so much oxygen. Up in this point, oxygen was a poisonous gas. It was a waste product, and all life was anaerobic, or breathed methane. And then the cyanobacteria start producing oxygen, and they eventually somehow it blocks out the sunlight, which causes the ice caps to form for the first time, which the ice reflects the sunlight off in space, which causes more ice, which reflects more sunlight, which then runaway ice house, until the whole Earth froze from the poles to the equators for 15 to 25 million years in an event called Snowball Earth. The Ice Age, it was an ice age, but where the whole globe froze, and it was an extreme ice age. The ice ages, most people probably know about, are called glaciations. They only lasted 100,000 years at most, followed by 31,000 years of an interglacial period, non-10. But they, even in glaciations, the ice sheet for reference, in North America, the ice sheets and glaciers only reach as far south as Chicago. And I'm not going to look at their names. They're in the regular episode. So of Welcome Prehistoric Microbes. So this is like 2.1. No, this is more like 1.5 billion years ago. Or so. Like 2 billion or 1.5 billion years ago, after like anywhere from 400 to 900 million years after Snowball Earth, or like around there. And then later on, not there. Hold on, before we get here, never mind. Just ignore that for now. Then in the period known as this was the Proterozoic we went through so far: the Hadean, the Archean, the Proterozoic supereons, which are all known as the Precambrian. The Hadean, Archean, Proterozoic eons, which are today collectively known as the Precambrian supereon. And then before we go any further, there was a Snowball Earth. There was two or possibly four more Snowball Earths. Between 750 million and 635 million years ago, in a period known as the Cryogenian. Right now, in the Ediacaran, from 635 million years ago to 548 million years ago, is when this guy's appeared, Dickensodea and Chardia. This is Dickensodea. It looked like a flat purple pancake. Oh, not really pancake shaped, but it was flat, and it was a purple. Oh, we don't know what color it was. It could have been. Right, and also that's how they were displayed in the document. That's how they were shown in the documentary Australia's First 4 Billion Years from PBS, which I highly recommend you check out. I'll put a link in the description. Which these are don't give me a copyright strike for that just mention. If you do, I'll take you to court and sue you. Right, so this, I don't know how to pronounce this plant like shellfish called Charnia. It looks like a giant leaf, but these are both animals. I think this is an animal and this is an Ediacaran bottom, which I don't know some sort of Ediacaran life form. It was a Ranchiomorph, I believe. They're both extinct taxons. I don't know really what they're called. Never mind. The Dickensodea belongs to a phylum. I forget what it's called. That's of animals. That's a whole phylum that's extinct of invertebrates, of early animals, I believe. Early animals. And they were invertebrates. So, and then Cardia, I think it was in its whole. It belonged to a whole stem animals, or a whole extinct kingdom of life on Earth. It was either a stem animal or in its own whole kingdom of life on Earth that's extinct. Alright. And then, finally, 548 million years ago, the Cambrian period rolled around, and that's when, animals were, got large, and, that's when animals really took off. An event known as the Cambrian explosion. The Cambrian period was of the Paleozoic era of the Nerozoic eon, which is not in the Precambrian anymore. So it's not the Precambrian anymore. So the first mollusk appeared, the first arthropods appeared, the first chordates appeared. I'm pretty sure. Well, no, those except for chordates, which include vertebrates. The first echinoderms, which include starfish. Mollusks include stuff like squid, snails, and clams, while arthropods include insects and crustaceans and arachnids. and then also and then and then the first of many types of worms in minor found things, basically animals. Almost every major group of animals appear in the Cambrian time. And then also, these two I think these are mollusks, at least this one is. These microscopic life forms also lived in the Cambrian. Again, I'm not going to go over their names or details in this video. We did that in the last regular episode, Welcome to Prehistoric Microbes on the Cambrian period. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. As always, bye-bye.